games in a row over 100 passer rating. Kurt, he's 108. That's the highest rated passer in a losing record. He's got to get more help. They can win some games.
Oh, he's in Arizona.
Baker and the Browns are going into the bye week. They were in the playoffs. Coming out of the bye week, they slipped out of the playoff hunt. Let's see if they can get back on track today.
Oh, Deshaun Watson's help's in Arizona. About Arizona. But Tom Brady has his help right there with him. Mike Evans and his crew just have to do their job and help. That's what they have to do. Bad boy right there.
And here's the best of the Sunday best that we had some fun with last hour. You are looking at a live shot from U.S. Army Central at Camp Arab John in Kuwait. Staff Sergeant David Graves just helped us with some picks in the last hour. He'll be returning later this hour to pick some more games. Yes, we're excited to see you there as well. Tom Brady strolling the field in his salute to service gear, trying to get the Bucs back on the winning track. By the way, they're 6-3 as the 5 seed that would visit the NFC East champ in the first week of the playoffs. So we're talking about the Bucs being finished, and there's a lot of road left for this team, no doubt about that. Which Tom Brady is going to show up today, the Jekyll or the Hyde?
He loves to drive him crazy with his evil lips. My deadly trip.
Here's Hyde. Brady threw it up for grabs. Extremely dangerous. It will be a pick six. Come on, Tommy.
Get rid of my Jekyll.
There's life for the Bucs. Perfect throw by Brady. Welcome back before you blink an eye. Here's Hyde looking for revenge.
With all the bad intentions.
Just can't break free.
I sent you down.
Look out.
Kind of spooked Brady. There's no place to hide.
Hour number 4 of this Week 10 edition of NFL Game Day Morning presented by Lowe's is on the air. We put the home and home team. My name is Rich Eisen. That's Steve Mariucci, Kurt Warner, and Michael Irvin. If you missed it, the last 3 hours, we had Michael Irvin speak to Devontae Adams. He attempted to play a judge in a People's Court segment that we have literally flushed down the toilet since then. So I hope you put it on your DVRs and you saved it. I have had the bus rolled over me many times. Daniel Jeremiah talking about my Michigan Wolverines loss to Wisconsin yesterday. Mooch is throwing at me. Kurt, normally you're much nicer to me.
And even Champ gave you chump.
That's right. You call it chump. It's my emotional support dog. You have Champ, and everybody here wants to call him chump because it's about the Jets, so we're going to call him Trevor. Because I love these golden locks. Trevor, huh? So, we also showed earlier that Tom Brady has lost by 20 or more points only 8 times in his GOAT career. He's 7-1 in those bounce back games. How do they avoid the upset? As you know, Steve, the Bucs and the Panthers play tight games frequently. It's a division game. How do they avoid this upset today?
How about a couple of those? You know what that is, Rich? They did that. You know what that is?
No, what is it?
I'm handing the ball off, okay? I only handed it off 4 times last week. You never played, all right? But you know what? That's what they got to do. Hand it to these running backs, establish the ground game. Leonard Fournette had 103 yards rushing against these Panthers in the first time they played with a couple of touchdowns. They've got a good stable of running backs, Ronald Jones and LaShawn McCoy. They even drafted a guy, Sean Vaughn. So you know what? Let's get balance, use play action, and get back to basics. Kurt, then they can win this game going away.
I like the idea of basics or going back to the cliches. Protect the football and start fast. That, to me, is the key for the Bucs. When you look at these two teams, Panthers and Bucs, 9 losses on the year. 8 of those losses came when they were down at halftime for either team. That becomes the keys. You got to start fast. You got to get a rhythm early. And then, of course, Michael, it's always about protecting the football.
Right.
The Bucs have struggled when they haven't protected the football. When they protect it, hey, Tom Brady leads his guys, and this team is good enough to beat anybody in the league.
And let's get what we expect from the greats, the so-called greats that are out here. You know, I got on the offensive line before about protecting and allowing them to run the football. But also, let's touch on these wide receivers. You got Evans, you got Godwin, you got Antonio Brown. Total last week was 136 yards. All 3 of those guys together When you hear those names, you're expecting at least one or two of those guys to have 136 yards by themselves, not totaling it together. So let's get open. Let's make plays for Tom Brady. The line has the block for him, this great receiving core. There's a reason he came to you guys, because he didn't have that talent where he was. Show him that he made the right decision and make some plays for him. Godwin, Brown, and Mike Evans.
They even talked about the lack of targets from Mike Evans after that game. But there was a lot.
Yeah, they'll get that pecking order.
There's a lot to talk about. And I kind of knew this is what you meant by handing it off.
Did you?
4 times. 4 rushes.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's nuts.
That'll happen on the first drive, believe me.
Unbalanced, to say the least, right? That puts the in unbalanced. And James Palmer gives us the latest reports from this game to kick off our 4th hour of coverage. James?
Well, thank you, Rich. I talked to people inside the Bucs facility, and they said on Monday players were still pissed off after that embarrassing loss to the Saints, but the mood did change throughout the week. Bruce Arians said this week, when you have great leadership, you very seldom lose 2 games in a row. But the interesting part I heard was the leaders weren't that important. Guys like Levante David, who's the captain of this defense, usually has to go up to other players to talk about correcting mistakes. He this week had players coming up to him, telling him what went wrong and that they're going to correct it themselves. On the offensive side of the ball, protecting Brady was Bruce Arians' biggest spot. He thought they came up short, and it has affected the deep ball. He is 3 of 28 on deep ball passes since week 5. Now let's go to Aditi Kinkabwala in Pittsburgh.
James, the Steelers all week have downplayed Ben Roethlisberger and linebacker Vince Williams not being able to practice. Both, of course, were in self-isolation because of close contact with a COVID-19 case. But Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin, he said they're veterans. They've been doing it long enough and that the game plan wouldn't be affected in any way. Now, Ben Roethlisberger does indeed have some experience playing without practice. In 2015, he missed the entire week of practice, came off the bench against the Browns, and threw for 379 yards. When I brought that up to him yesterday, he said this, however, is completely different. He said there's some nuance missing when you're not on the practice field with your teammates. Of course, I took that to Bengals linebacker Josh Bynes and said, does that give the Bengals a little room? He said, come on, it's Big Ben. Rich?
And it's Joey Burrow coming in, a hot rookie. Why are we showing you Dak footage? He's the last rookie quarterback to win at Pittsburgh. Mike Tomlin is 20-4. Including that loss to Dak, when the opposing team starts a rookie quarterback. It was 2016 when that happened. I know.
We'll give you the money.
That's why you have Champ next to you. That's why you have Champ next to you.
We all miss Dak.
Yes,
That's why you have Champ next to you.
We're going to get him his money.
So it's another conversation about avoiding the upset today. What's the biggest concern the Steelers have today, do you think?
Here's the thing. I don't think it's about overlooking this team or just Big Ben's beating these guys 23 times, because next week's the Jags. They got to just stay focused, and Tomlin will have them focused. But they got to start faster. Let's face it, all right? They got behind by the Cowboys 13-0 with a quarterback who started his first game, and they were behind to the Ravens 17-7. They got to start faster. That means you really look hard at your first 15. What are we getting out of this? We got to score in the first quarter. We got to put successive plays together to get in the end zone sooner than later, and I think that'll help them going forward. Let's get better in that first quarter and not have to come from behind to win some of these games.
We talk how great they are in having great young talent playing right now, and honestly, the young talent has to learn especially when you're undefeated. Right now, everybody is going to give you their best game. Everybody. You cannot play down to the competition like they did last week when they played in Dallas. They went the first 4 drives and did not score against Dallas. Let me say that again. They went the first 4 drives and did not score against Dallas. That tells you how bad that is right there. So they cannot play down to the competition, because Joe Burrow, you give him those opportunities, you can lose this game.
And there's certain pieces about this team that you say, oh, this is the same old Steelers. We got Big Ben back at quarterback. We got a great pass rush. And those are things that the Steelers have always been known for in the last decade or so. But there's other things that you look at with this team and you go, Well, that doesn't look like the same old Steelers. They're 19th in the league in running the football, in owning the line of scrimmage on offense. And so it falls to those young playmakers, Irv, and the quarterback having to make all the plays through the air. You've got to be able to establish the line of scrimmage. And then on defense, we've talked about how good this defense is and how much they pressure and get after a quarterback. The last 3 weeks, they're giving up 163 yards rushing per game. 163 yards rushing. We talk about that great front seven. Well, they can get after the quarterback. They've got to be able to stop the run. They have to win the line of scrimmage. That's where it all starts with this team as they're building on the back end and at the skill positions. So to me, that's been their biggest weakness. Can they fix that?
And a good team, a dominating team, you'd like to see them have some blowout wins. Their last 3 games, they've won by 3, by 4, and by 5. They need to start flexing their muscles a little bit if they're going to be considered that elite team.
Joe Burrow is the 5th different starting Bengals quarterback that Big Ben has faced since he came into the league. The other 4, Carson Palmer, Andy Dalton, Jeff Driscoll, and Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Fitz.